So episode 6, we're back with the 5 Tips Masterclass. This week we've got a very special guest, long overdue hangout, my man Devo Brown.
Yes, sir.
Coming through.
How are you?
I reached out to Devo for a variety of reasons because, as you guys know, I do a bunch of stuff in music, and the music game is changing. Being either an artist or behind-the-scene person, supporting the Artist Network has changed now. And so I wanted Devo to come by and share some amazing tips, 5 tips on, if you're trying to break into the music business as a radio host, as an MC, as a personality, what is it that you want to do? Maybe some things that you shouldn't do to get into the game.
Yeah.
And also maybe some stuff about how to stay in the game so long. So, a very formal intro. So he's been in the game for over a decade.
I'm old.
Currently an honorary personality at Kiss 92.5. Big shout out. The guys are also playing our track tonight. If you haven't checked it out, check it out. Listen to Kiss 92. Again, being in the broadcast business for over a decade. You've done, prior to Kiss, one of my favorite shows on Flow, rocking it when urban music was just coming out and teed out, right?
Yeah, man.
So Flow was big.
Yeah.
You also do a weekly televised segment on City News, which we'll get into in a second.
For sure.
And also want to discuss all the different people you've had a chance to interview. Like some big names: Biebs, Drake, Rihanna, my man Jay-Z, Ed Sheeran, Sam Smith. I mean, the list goes on. Pharrell, right? So we want to talk about sort of, how that's all been. So welcome to the show, man. Thanks for passing through.
I appreciate this. And I love that it's the 6th episode.
Yeah.
In the 6th, and I feel like we always represent it the best we can. And, start off right away with the 6th God with Drake, where one of our biggest success stories coming out of this city is what he's done.
Yeah.
And, being a part and seeing that from the very beginning of his career is something that I got to experience, and I was so blessed to be a part of, like, just watching him grow. We met as he was Aubrey.
We
met at an event, and we became really good friends, and he's like, dude, I'm doing music, and I'm like, let's hear your music. And, and the radio station I worked at the time was the first radio station to ever play his stuff. And, the reaction was incredible. Him and I did an impromptu interview.
That's awesome.
This is over 10 years ago, at the beginning of both of our careers. And, I just posted it on my site. And it's hilarious to hear it all because we're both so fresh.
Yeah.
But at the same time, everything he's talking about and what he wanted to do, he's done.
Wow.
And so to have that vision so far back, and to be able to accomplish that is incredible. And to be able to witness that and see that unfold has been amazing.
So we're gonna tag Drake, and hopefully he'll be around for episode 7.
What up, Bobs?
Okay, and come bless the show. So let's take back to you.
Yeah.
Looking back on your history of being in this, I mean, a decade is a long time to be in the game. Let's start with some things about, how do people even get into the game? Let's talk about some of these tips that we're looking for the show. And the audience that, we're speaking to is millennials. Like, that's the crowd that, are looking for inspiration and looking for real stories from real hustlers that they can actually sort of feed off of, right? So how does somebody even get into the game?
Listen, like, for me, I said, I didn't go to school for it. I was trying to get teachers college. I didn't get into teachers college. And I was like, man, I've got OSAP. I've got a lot of bills to pay right now. And I worked 60 hours a week. And included in those 60 hours or 65 hours or 70, whatever it ended up being, was DJing at clubs at night. So I would DJ until 3 a.m, and I'd get up and go deliver bottles of Pepsi for Pepsi at different grocery stores because I was a merchandiser, and I'd go stock shelves and stuff. And I was doing that from 7 a.m. And I would continue to, then I started, working with Big Brothers, and I started coaching basketball.
Right.
And I did all that at the same time because I loved all of those things.
Right.
I mean, stocking shelves, not so much, but I knew how to pay my bills.
Yeah.
And that's, shouts to Pepsi because that's how I paid off my OSAP so fast. I worked overtime with them, and, and I got paid really well to do that stuff, but it was the grind. It was a hustle. But I knew at that point I wanted to do radio. I didn't know where I was going to get to it at first. And I said, you know what? This is what I want. So that's my first tip. Identify what you want. Right? Know what you want, and don't be scared to go after it, and do the hard work. Don't expect it to get just handed to you.
But why radio? Like, because when you look at, like, you've got a great personality, right?
Thank you.
But you also got a fantastic radio voice. But would the choice have been any different if you thought, hey, I want to be a TV on-air personality versus I want to be a radio host? Like, would it have been different path? Was there something on radio that you really liked?
I think for me at first, it was kind of the path that I had been, introduced to.
Right.
So even DJing in clubs, jumping on the mic, for me, what it was and what it still is to this day is there's a lot of real like BS going on in the world. In your personal world, you might have had the toughest day. You're driving home, I jump on, you hear me say something, and it makes you smile for a minute. Makes you forget all of that. Just for a moment, that's what it is for me. For people to forget about all the regular crap in their lives and the stuff that's negative, and for a moment have some fun. Get lost in that moment and enjoy themselves. That's what it was for me from the beginning, and that's what it still is now. It's that purity of just having a good time. And for me, it's the knowledge of someone enjoying themselves and being able to do that for them.
And connecting with that story, once you decided, okay, I'm gonna try to get into radio, but while I figure out how to do that, I'm just gonna hustle and grind and etc. At any point, did you go, I don't know if I can do it. And how did you get through that? Because so many of the people I meet, they have this like, I want to be a movie star, I want to be an accountant, I want to be a doctor, whatever. But there's always a point where you have to decide whether you're gonna like fight through the shit. This is YouTube, so I can swear.
You can say whatever you want,
or you give up.
For me, it was, again, I was in Hamilton, then I went to Barry, and I saw this kind of, for me, it was a quick rise to a certain kind of peak. But then to get past that was a bit of a plateau. And then that's where it was. So I went from Barry, and being on a street team to running 2 street teams. Then to saying to my program director, I want to be on air. And so while running 2 street teams, and working club gigs in Barry, he was like, all right, you can go on air at 1 in the morning till 4 in the morning. And that's what I did because I wanted it. Again, identify what you want. So that was my first opportunity to really be on air and do a show. And he was like, man, you're pretty good. I went from there to Oshawa. From there, it was a part-time on-air gig. So you're seeing the progress. So you're like, okay, this is good. Then I got a full-time on-air job in Coburg. Coburg and Peterborough. If you're watching this in random places in the world, just look them up, man. They're not the best. Listen, they're beautiful people there. They're awesome. It's just not Toronto. Okay?
No key to the city for you, man.
No, man. Listen, Coburg Beach is a hidden gem. I'll give them shouts for that. But, I'm going there, and I had this consultant, and this is what, and I don't know if we go tip number 2 with this, but you're going to have doubters. And you're going to have, I hate the term haters because it's just, to me, it's just overused. And it's, when you start saying, oh, I got haters, man, you're going in the wrong frame of mind. Because now you're just negative all the time. But you're going to have people that doubt you and you want to prove them wrong. So we had a consultant. I was in Coburg for 2.5 years, and we had a consultant there. And I told him I got a job in Toronto to do weekends, just weekends. And crazy enough, doing just weekends, 2 shifts and 2 club nights was more money than working 6 days a week in Coburg, just for the record at that time, man. It was crazy. So I was like, yeah, this is the right move. It's the biggest market in the country, and it's, more money. That consultant who we had forever said to me, you're never gonna be more than that. You're gonna be a weekend guy and you're gonna fail.
Oh, shoot.
And, the thing was, for 2 years, he praised me. I was the best thing ever, but now that I was leaving, I was terrible. I was a piece of trash. And I was like, you know what, man? Can't wait to prove you wrong.
Man.
And I proved him wrong. So, there was a time, though, during those 2 years, I didn't think I would be making it out of that market to get somewhere bigger, to keep going. And I did say, I don't want to do this anymore. I think I need to quit this, make some, money as I get older to be able to be, support myself properly. If I decide, I'm going to get married, I can't support a family on this. And then, being Indian, obviously you get your parents and they're like, hey, that was a great hobby you've had for the last 6 years, but it's not a career, which, to me it was. And they finally, my parents came around and they're like, yeah, we support you, keep grinding. So
after 20 years of being self-employed, 4 businesses later, my parents still were like, when are you going to get a job?
Get a job.
Are you done with this working for yourself now?
We don't wear ties and stuff, man. What are we supposed to do?
What more can I do? So let's stay in that doubter mode for a second, because a lot of the people I meet, what they can't figure out is how do you build a support network that enables you to fight those fears. And you said something great when we were just hanging out. Fear of failure and fear of success. Let's talk about that a little
Yeah,
bit.
there's two. I mean, they're two totally different things. And that fear of failure is, I'm scared I won't make it, and I'm gonna disappoint people, and you almost sabotage yourself because you're scared that you can't get to that next level. You know what? I'm comfortable here.
Right.
Let's just stay here because everything will be okay in this little zone. But if I try this, I might fail and my world will crash, and I don't know if I want that. If you don't take risks, you ain't gonna succeed.
Right.
But then there's that fear of success where some of the most successful people sabotage themselves as well.
Right.
Because they're scared of, okay, now that I'm here and I'm at this level, I have to sustain that.
Right.
And how am I gonna do that? That's a lot of pressure. And that's, causes, as we were talking about, causes stress and health issues because, internally you're really struggling.
Right.
But externally, people don't know that. So
Yeah.
those are two real things that people need to be aware of and identify.
Right.
And for me, I think, the failure aspect of it was really there for a long time. And, I had a really good talk with my mom years ago, and she's like, you're the only one holding you back. And it's
Did you guys
true.
hear that? Let's say that again,
Yeah,
man.
you're the only one holding you back because
Wow.
here's the thing. When you say you're scared to fail, it's you don't think you're good enough. And, that was a very real thing for me. I would compare myself to other talent in this city or I look at it like a Ryan Seacrest and I'm like, holy crap, this guy he's on it. Listen, he's on another level when it comes to, production and business aspect and all that. But when it comes to on-air talent, I would put myself up next to him.
Yeah.
And that's not me trying to be arrogant. That's me saying, you know what? I believe in what I do, and I can do that. And it took a while to get to that point. So I think a lot of people, you just got to believe in you and don't stop yourself.
Yeah. And I wonder if it's a South Asian thing, because I've interviewed quite a few people in my first 6 episodes. You know what I'm saying? I'm just, it's big, it's massive. But one of the things that I always look at is maybe as a culture, maybe to protect us, very often it's don't try something unless you know you're going to be successful, because even if you fail but learn something, it's still a failure. And I wonder if it's a cultural thing.
I think it might be too. And I think for us too, it's, and it's anybody that's not the majority. Minority is a relative term now because of what the world has become and what the demographics of this country is and everything. But if you're not the majority of that industry, the industry I walked into was majority older white men.
Yeah.
And they're going to treat you a certain way. And it might not be intentional, but it's what they're used to. I had a boss that asked me to change my name. And I was like, why? And he's like, well, your name should be like John Smith. No disrespect to John Smith. That's great if you're a John Smith. My name is not John Smith, so I would never change it. So
I love how much stories we have in parallel. I remember grade 12 guidance counselor at Mary Hilliard out in Kennedy and Midland.
Yeah.
And I was like, I want to get into computer science. I want to get into entrepreneurship. She goes, nobody will hire you if your resume says Sathish Bala Krishnan. You should call yourself Sam Bala.
Sam
And I'm
Bala.
like, Sam Bala? And she's like, yup, because if they can't pronounce you, they won't call. And for like a split second, I was like, I don't know, maybe I should call myself Sam. Thank God I hated her enough to be like, screw you.
yeah.
This is gonna be Satish.
Yeah.
And that's it. And imagine
keep it
being
for you.
branded Sam
Yeah, just
for all
me.
the successes that I've
Listen,
gone
man,
through.
it's like you just hashtag Sam Bala. I want that to trend right now, please.
Sam Bala. And there's a Sam Bala out there who's like probably awesome in life and doing some
Yeah.
great shit. But
That wasn't
I am
you.
not
That's
a
not
Sam.
you. Yeah, that's the thing. That's what I'm saying. Like, when you tell me after, I've worked 6-7 years in my career to build a name that I should be a John Smith, like that's a complete insult and disrespect to what I've worked towards. And it's not even, for me, that's not even a culture thing. That's for me just like, I've worked my ass off to get to this point, and you're just like brushing that aside. Like, that's dumb, But, and that boss, I showed him as well. Like,
So we got
doubters.
tip 1,
Yeah.
identify what you want. Tip 2, knowing you'll have doubters, get ready for it. Build a foundation, build a support network to keep you going. Tip 3, so now you're in there, you got some success, you're starting to figure out what's my longevity in the game, what's the next move so you don't get
learn
complacent.
everything about the industry you want to be a part of. Everyone's job, for the person that's recording this right now to the person that's editing, to the host, to whoever's doing social media, whatever that role is, learn their role. You don't have to be an expert on it, but learn it so you can empathize with them. When the one thing that people will say, like, I'll go do an event and they're like, yeah, the talent goes over here. Like, people, I get called the talent. I'm like, really? This guy? No. But they'll say, yo, go over here and just relax and don't worry about anything. And then they'll see me like help someone carry a big box of things over the side. And they're like, what are you doing? You're not supposed to do that. You're the talent. And I'm like, well, no, they were struggling. Why wouldn't I just help them, man? That person's part of the crew. If you can understand what everyone's doing in that industry and what you're a part of, one, you're going to be well-rounded and ahead of everything else. You can help out in any department, and you're more useful at that point, too. Because if all of a sudden you're not the talent anymore, well, guess what? You could do production.
Right.
Or you could do engineering, or, you can, and you might like that better. So I think, just being able to understand how everything operates and works in whichever industry you decide to be in, I think gets you so far ahead of anybody else.
So in your current on-air personality role, what are some of the other things that you sort of paid attention to that happens around you?
Like, I know if I go, we do these live on location things, so I'll be at Cabana every week. I know that I can just take the stuff and do it by myself. If something breaks, I can try and figure things out. I'm not an engineer like what we have, and those guys that go and get educated and do all that stuff. But you can troubleshoot enough. I'm a one-man show when I'm on, so if I get calls, I'm editing, producing.
Wow. Okay.
I run my own board. Like, it's just me in that studio. So sorry to take away the magic, people, but it is just me. Like, it's a one-man show, so I'm doing everything from producing to hosting to editing at the same time. And that's from learning when I started being an intern to promo to running remotes for people and live on locations with the equipment and the technology part of it. That's from learning everyone else's job, so that way, I can be a part of it. I can understand what's going on.
So talking about learning about everybody's job, one of the things that I always struggle with, and I'm sure some people out there, is there's so much information out there. How do you figure out how to dissect it? Like, literally, like, I get sick of Indian music after desiFEST every year. I listen to it so much. But on the digital side, or the marketing side, I read it like 20, 30 different articles a day. But sometimes I'm like, A, can you stop? Because then I feel like somebody else is reading shit that I should be reading. Or B, there's so much out there. How do you find a time and then a method to dissect and sort of consume content?
The one thing I like to say about what I do for a living when it comes to doing radio stuff and events and all that is knowing a little about a lot.
Okay.
So
break that down some more.
You should be able to walk into a room and have a conversation with anybody in that room. And that's by knowing a little about a lot of different things. You can be an expert on 3 or 4 different things, which is cool. I mean, and if you are an expert on 3 or 4 different things, you're a genius to me, because I could probably only be an expert on 1 or 2. I'm not that smart. But if you know a little bit about so many different topics, so you don't have to dive right into that digital trend article that you saw. But you can get the summary of it and figure it out and say, oh, you know what? Some of that stuck with me. Because like you said, there's so much coming at us. You can't retain all of it.
Exactly.
There's no possible way for anyone to do that. But there are going to be 3 or 4 or 5 things during the day that you take in that really will stick with you. It's almost like movie quotes or song quotes, right? How many songs or movies have you heard or seen, and how many do you actually remember, right? So I think, again, just knowing about so many different topics. You put me in a room with someone talking about basketball. We were talking earlier about the Mayweather and McGregor. I don't really follow that stuff, but I was able to, tell you and pick up a couple of things and say that this happened because I do pay attention to that. So I think you need to be able to just look about what your world is and what you kind of work into and say, hey, if I bump into someone in this room, can I carry that conversation with them?
Yeah, it's funny. Canada Basketball asked me to sit on a panel. It was about social media and digital marketing, which I was comfortable with. But on the drive there, I was like, man, if they ask me any questions about actual Canada basketball, who's on the team, who's qualified, I was like, I would have no freaking answer. So I'm online going, okay, who's in the NBA that's from Canada? I know Wiggins, but who else is there? Corey, what's up? Like, I was just so paranoid. But then when I got there, I was like, hey, man, I don't mind saying I don't know much about Canada basketball, but I know marketing and digital and
Yeah,
advertising.
and how you can relate it to it, right? Yeah, and that's the thing. So it's good to know about several different topics and being able to do that. Yeah.
So we're on tip 3. We're about to go into tip 4. So learn everyone's job about the industry. Now I'm in the industry, specific to radio and entertainment. From a tip 4 perspective, maybe there's a don't that people don't know. Is there etiquette that people should know?
Yeah,
Is there
don't
protocols?
be a jerk. Like, just don't be an asshole is really what it is. But that's just common sense for life. Because if you're a jerk, no one wants to be around you, and most people probably won't hire you for anything at all anyways. For me, in tip 4 there would be treat everyone the same. So I'm in a corporate environment right now, and, you know, I treat the CEO the exact same way I treat the people that clean the toilets at night.
Yeah.
And I won't treat them any different.
Yep.
You know, I actually have more conversations with people that clean at night because I see them all the time, and, you know, I know them by name. We high five. They bring their kids in and say hi to me. Like, there's that kind of relationship, because why would you treat anyone different than anybody else? So if you can get used to doing that, you're going to go further because people realize you're genuine. You're not just talking to the CEO and kissing ass the whole time. And then when you see someone else, you're like, oh, excuse me, move. That's not a genuine human being.
It's so common, man.
People, and listen, you're going to have moments, you're going to have days where, you know, that you're not going to be the most friendly to everybody. But don't be rude or don't like be demeaning to anyone. So, you know, no one person's, I mean, yeah, sure, somebody might have a more important job in someone else's eyes. But listen, man, everyone's got to go to the bathroom. And no one wants a dirty bathroom. I cleaned toilets in high school and even beyond that. I know. I've cleaned some filthy places, man. And, you know, at the end of the day, do I want to? No. But did I do it for, like, you know, to get to an end? Yes. So, and, you know, everyone that's doing a job does it for a reason, right? And we don't know those reasons. So, I mean, to me, just don't be a jerk. Like, that's just a life lesson, too. But in industry as well, and the entertainment industry, and also in this, you know, I can recall a story where I was just a promo rep, which I think is a cool job. But I went to go to an event, and the host at the time, he had a little bit of a, you know, ego on him and stuff. And he says to me, can you hand me my headphones? The headphones were like where your glasses are. And I'm here. And he goes, hand me my headphones. I need to use them for this. And I was like, your headphones are right there. Get them yourself. And I said that to him. And he's like, no. When I tell you, you need to get me my headphones, you get me my headphones. And I looked, and I was like, you know what? All right, you know, here's your headphones, sir. This dude was not in the industry very long, because you never know who you're going to pass on the way up, and you might on the way down. And so, you treat everyone the same, because that guy, as I started doing more in my career, and I saw him at an event that I was hosting, that he looked very disappointed to not be doing, that to me was, you know what? That's karma for you. You treated me like trash, and all the rest of us that worked around you, and now you're out of the industry really quick. So that goes right back to tip 4, man. It's just a life lesson, but it really holds true for any kind of entertainment industry. Yeah, and you know, especially in the entertainment industry, it's so easy to get this fake ego. You know, and I talk about it from an event perspective, where so many people that I know, you know, throw these big concerts or shows, and one successful event, they become these people. And I was like, dude, the next time you don't get funding, the next time an artist doesn't get on your stage, you don't have a show, and you're another guy. And that's cool. Everybody will have a moment where the current thing we're doing will pivot to something different. But I like to think, whether you're on radio or not, whether you do Bull Cruise or not, whether I do digital or desiFEST, people will still be like, hey, that's Sats.B, that's Devo, good peeps. And that's what I said, you know, and again, you know, it's funny, I was at this like religious type thing with my folks, and some random lady came up to me, and I had never met her before in my life, and she goes, you know, you remind me of my son. I was like, oh, your son must be a handsome and charming dude, right? I was goofing around. And she's like, yeah, and full of himself. And I went, whoo, wow. I'm like, so wait, the fact that I came here and I've been lifting tables and putting this thing together and helping you guys out, which I've never met and no one asked me to do, makes me full of myself. She goes, well, you know, you just kind of have that. And I go, yeah, that confidence. I go, there's a fine line between confidence and arrogance. I go, if you came to me and said what you just said to me, and I was very rude back to you, then I would be arrogant.
Right.
But I am confident. I'll walk in a room and be confident, whether I'm on radio or TV or not. I will be confident because I'm confident about myself in life and what I've accomplished and who I am as a person and how I was raised. So I don't think you need to be, as you said, if you're successful, you don't need to walk around and tell everybody you're successful.
Yeah.
But when you are in a position where, for me, I'm talking about music and saying what I like and what I think is really good, I have to be confident.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you don't believe me.
Yeah.
Right? If I'm just like, that song's okay.
Yeah.
What do you think? I can't tiptoe on that stuff. It's like, this is what I like. You might not like it, and that's cool. But this is what I like, and I got to be confident about that. So I think, you walk that line, and there's times where it might come across as arrogant. But I think when people really know who you are and what you stand for, you don't have to worry about that stuff. But yeah, that lady said that. I was like, wow, I don't even know you. I'm sweating, lifting tables right now. Like, how you gonna call me that?
I get aunties hating me when I don't give them a T-shirt at desiFEST.
Oh.
They literally are like, this year, I threw a T-shirt. She came up to the front. She's like, this is a medium. Can I exchange it? I'm like, really? Okay, man. Come to the side. We'll take care of you. Like, it's cool.
But you did it though. But you did. You stepped through. That's true knowledge,
All right, we're coming up to our last tip, but let's recap. Identify what you want. Knowing you have doubters, who cares? Build a support network. Invest in yourself. Get past it. Learn everybody's job in the industry because you never know what you need to do or how to empathize with the other person, right? Until you learn what they're capable of doing, you can't appreciate them. And number 4, which I love, don't be a jerk.
Don't be a jerk.
Okay? Don't be a jerk. That's going to be an official T-shirt that we'll have on sale. Okay, on 5tipsmasterclass.com, which we don't have yet. Tip number 5.
Man, don't give up. Don't give up, and don't get complacent and comfortable. So you can say, hey, you got this job, and this is where you've gotten to in your career. desiFEST, you did year 5, and you're like, yeah, year 5, I got here. This is great. But you didn't get complacent.
Yeah.
I want year 6 to be better. I want year 7 to be better. And you keep going, And that's how I look at it. I do a show. Yeah, it's great one night, but the next night I can't be like, well, yesterday's was great.
Yeah.
No, that next one has to be just as good, if not better. And you keep doing that. And don't ever think you can't learn, right? Because people will sit there and get to a certain point and then not want to listen to other people or learn anymore. You think, oh, I'm here now. When you can always learn from someone, and I don't know if you want to talk about any of the interviews I've done.
Oh, it's coming up.
Okay,
Yeah.
so just remember, you can always learn from someone, and you never know who you're going to learn from. And there's a very major person who said that to me during an interview, and I thought that was incredible, how humble he was about it. So we'll talk about that.
Well, that was a good segue because, now that we got the tips out of the way, a couple of things for you that I want you to share. One, of all the people you interviewed, geez, man, I would give anything to meet just one of these people, but Biebs, Drake, Rihanna, Jay-Z, wow, Pharrell. So the most impactful interview or conversation you've had with one of these artists that left you sort of thinking, okay.
All of them were impactful because you just said those names, right? Because of where they're at, and they were all wonderful interviews because they all were open and wanting to have conversations. So different points in my career is when I had those, one of the guys that stands out right now is because he's at the top of his game is Ed Sheeran.
Yeah.
And he's a dude's dude. Like, we just sit back, we're playing on his phone. He was showing me pictures and then he was like, I shouldn't show you that one. And we're just like goofing around, just having some fun. And he's just a genuine guy. And then seeing him after the fact at some event, a couple months later, he just looked at me and was like, hey, came and gave me a big hug. And that's really cool. The Drake situation, as I mentioned, watching him from the very beginning to see his journey and then having that conversation we had years ago, as I mentioned earlier.
Which we'll link. I want to link that. So
I'll get you that, man. And it's so cool just to be able to experience all that. Pharrell is just a genius. You got to come. You got to come to Pharrell correct. Man. You can't be coming at him with some fluff or anything like that.
Tell us where you started.
Man, you don't even talk to Pharrell like that. Pharrell he's so intelligent, and he gives you so much respect if you have that knowledge to share with him. So in the sense, like, if you know about him and you come in correct, he'll open up and tell you anything. But if you come in with fluff, it's like a 3-minute interview and you're out the door, and that's it. But Jay-Z, to me,
hey, ho.
is, we chatted 3 times, And the one was a longer interview, and it was for the Blueprint 3. And
I love that one.
Yeah, we went track for track and talked about it. And, you know, this is kind of early days with Beyonce and the actual marriage, which I wasn't really supposed to ask him about. But he told me about anyways, because I found ways to get into it. And, you know, and the way I treat interviews is a conversation like this. You know, you don't. People have a list of questions. If you get to those questions, cool. Because if you don't, that means your conversation was unreal.
Right.
Because you didn't need to look at that piece of paper to find out what to say next or what to ask about. Yeah, I know. No,
Yeah,
but you're taking notes. You're taking notes. But but you're doing
I'm
a great job
learning,
with
man.
that.
I'm
No,
6
you're doing a great
episodes
job.
in.
But I mean, it's a little different with an artist in that sense because it's supposed to be a little more formal and stuff. So. You want to kind of be focused in that sense.
But what's Jay telling you, man? What did he say?
Jay, I had him right off the beginning because I quoted something he said to me about 30 seconds earlier, and he kept on talking. He goes, "That was clever. You're sharp. I like that." And right then, I knew I had him. I was like, I can ask this guy anything. He told me about the Beanie Siegel situation, which he had never said about anything before, and how they had their past and their beef and the money situation and all that. And again, that was something that he had never said in an interview before. But the one thing Jay-Z said was to me, he goes, "Listen, I walk in a room and I talk to whoever I can because I don't know who I'm going to learn from that day." He goes, "I sat down with you today and I've learned something from you." He goes, "Once you become too proud to ever think that you can learn from somebody," he goes, "it's over. You'll never succeed."
Man.
And that to me stood strong. This is a guy that's the top of the game, still is, and so successful, and came from nothing. And he's telling you that he'll sit down and listen to anybody in order to get his success and to learn from it. To me, that's unreal because he doesn't need to.
Yeah.
To us, we look at him, we're like, "You don't need to, man. You're Jay-Z.
Yeah.
Why would you listen to me? Why are you even still talking to me in this interview?"
Jay-Z.
Like, that's what I would say to him. But
Yeah.
he's like, "Nah, I can learn every time I sit down and talk to somebody." And so that was, that's the most impactful was the one with him because to me, growing up, that's an idol, right?
Yeah.
So that was, that's an icon in our world. So
Jeez, man.
blessed to be able to do it.
One day I hope to interview Drake and Jay-Z, but I got really close today with Devo because he talked to those guys. And 6 degrees of separation is true.
It's just 1 degree right there.
We are
close.
almost there, people.
So close.
Almost there. So just to recap, tip 1, identify what you want. Tip 2, you'll have doubters. Everybody's got doubters. I love the fact that we're changing the terminology from haters to doubters, right? Which is
For sure.
very awesome. Learn about everybody else's jobs in your industry, whether you're a doctor, nurse, radio, DJ, it doesn't matter. Learn everybody else's so you can empathize and learn how to sort of get them into your world and sort of put back something into their world. I love number 4, don't be a jerk. It's a life lesson more than anything. You won't get anywhere in life. My mama said that, you've learned that. That's what, world's about. And don't give up and don't get complacent, which is how you continue to evolve.
Yeah, keep working.
Right?
Just keep working.
And everything that Jay-Z said is true. Shit, even if he was just like, sitting there staring at you, asking questions, I would still be like, that's the greatest moment ever. Which is totally awesome. Thank you so much for coming through.
Oh, man, thank you.
We're going to share all the information about Devo below. Get in touch, buy him a cup of coffee, and pick his brain. The entire masterclass shows is about showing you guys real people that are hustling, real people that are changing the game, real passion, real stories that you can learn from. While you can read everything on the line and read the books and all these YouTube videos, the people in the 6 that are making a difference. Devo's one of them. Thank you, my man.
Thank you.
Thank you
Appreciate
for
it.
coming through. This is episode 6. I'm out. Sats.B.